Is former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. All right, a lot of platitudes, very expected, great crowd reaction. The conventions in general, they're all the same in that regard. However, there's something very different going on here, and that is where I was going with my first question. The Kamala Harris, who has taken the most radical positions on energy, on immigration, on law and order, on issues involving the economy and America's place in the world, and the Kamala Harris they're trying to remake before our very eyes. Will they be able to pull that off?
Well, you know, that's why I think the speech she gave on Friday is so unbelievable. They want to move her to the center. They want her to eat everyday food like normal people. They want her to come out with platitudes. Fine. And that's a strategy. But then on Friday, she gets up and she gives the most radical economic speech ever given by a candidate for president, a nominee for president, a speech which has big government socialism all the way through it, even though only 16% of the country favors big government socialism, a speech which offers $1.7 trillion in additional spending, even though 80% of the American people believe that that kind of spending guarantees more inflation. I mean, you can't understand up here what's the brain that says the Friday before the convention, let's go out and be absurdly radical, so radical that the New York Times and the Washington Post attacked the speech, and then turn around and say, you know, we're really not that kind of person. I predict that the Friday economic speech, in the end, will play a bigger role in this campaign than her acceptance speech Thursday night, and she'll never be able to get away from it.
Okay, so really, that was her first policy speech. There's nothing on her website that describes what her views are, or policies are, or what she's campaigning on, which in and of itself is extremely odd. But she did make one other decision, and that was her choice for VP. And she picked the Bernie Sanders of governors. I mean, here you have a governor that wants legal driver's licenses for illegals, like Kamala supports free health care, free housing, education, and even a college education. Here's a guy that wouldn't lift a finger as Minneapolis was burning to the ground, and literally his family opened up the windows to their homes so they could smell burning rubber during the rioting in the summer of 2020. Did nothing to really stop it. And on energy, they're both against fracking and drilling. I mean, huge in terms of the economy, and both big supporters of the Green New Deal. Kamala Harris co-sponsored the Green New Deal in the U.S. Senate. She sponsored Medicare for all, along with Bernie Sanders on both bills that would eliminate private health insurance. One last point. John McLaughlin pointed out most Americans are unaware of all of these radical positions. We're not going to hear any of them this week. So that's a challenge, is it not, for the Trump campaign?
Well, it's only a challenge if they go to sleep and forget they're in an election. Look, this is the easiest campaign since Michael Dukakis was 17 points ahead in 1988 at the end of the Democratic Convention. And then as people learned how radical he was, he just melted every week and ended up losing by 8 points. 1 out of every 4 Americans switched their vote in 1988 from Dukakis to George H.W. Bush. So just one factoid. Waltz, and Congressman Comer, to his credit, has begun to pick this up. Waltz took over 30 student groups to communist China, mostly paid for by the Chinese communist government. Now, to what degree is Waltz's collectivism and, as one person described it, his Maoist tendencies, to what extent was he going to China because they were paying for it, and to what extent was he going to China because he really is that radical and that far to the left? And if you look at how anti-Catholic he was during COVID, how much he tightened down the state, but by the way, allowed Mall of the Americas to keep selling. They described it as retail therapy. This is a guy who's very scary and very dangerous. He's actually to the left of Kamala, which you wouldn't think is easy. I think she picked him, frankly, because the governor of Pennsylvania is Jewish, and she just couldn't put Shapiro on the ticket given what's happening outside the convention hall.
Let me add a couple other things. No restrictions, either one of them, on abortion. Feminine products in boys' bathrooms in school. Gender, quote, affirming care without parental notification or consent. California, Minnesota, I mean, that doesn't seem in sync with the values in the middle of the country and the Sun Belt and the Midwest, where this election is likely going to be fought. Last word.
Well, I think when people learned that while Walz was governor, at least 8 babies died on the table without any medical care, because he is so radical that he believes not only in abortion on the last day, but he believes you should allow babies to die if the parents decide they don't want them. This guy is literally to the left of Harris, and Harris is to the left of Bernie Sanders.
Yeah. All right, Speaker Gingrich, we love having you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.